January 26, 1945, 2:05 p.m. Holtzwihr, France. The M10 tank destroyer takes a direct hit from a German Panzer. Flames erupt from the engine compartment. The five-man crew bails out, sprinting toward the treeline. Standard procedure. Abandon burning vehicles containing high explosive ammunition that can cook off and vaporize everything within 50 yards. Second Lieutenant Audie Murphy watches his men retreat into the forest as ordered. German infantry, 250 elite mountain troops, advance through the snow with 6 Panzer tanks providing support. His company is outnumbered 5-1. His defensive line is collapsing. The road behind him leads directly to regimental headquarters and 3,000 American soldiers who have no idea a breakthrough is imminent. Murphy looks at the burning tank destroyer, looks at the Germans closing to within 200 yards, calculates how long until that ammunition cooks off, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 2. Then he climbs onto the burning vehicle, grabs the .50 caliber machine gun, and begins firing at an entire German battalion alone. For the next hour, Murphy will stand exposed on a vehicle that could explode any second, killing 50 enemy soldiers while wounded, ultimately breaking the German assault through sheer refusal to retreat. The Medal of Honor citation will call it indomitable courage and refusal to give an inch of ground. Before we reveal how one teenager stopped 250 Germans with a burning tank, hit that subscribe button hard. Drop a like and comment which WWII hero inspires you most. This channel tells the stories Hollywood gets wrong. Now let me show you how courage beats odds. June 1925. Kingston, Texas. Audie Leon Murphy is born into poverty so crushing that it defines every decision he will make for the next 20 years. His father is a sharecropper who abandons the family when Audie is 12. His mother dies 2 years later. The Murphy children, 12 of them, scatter across relatives and orphanages because no single household can feed that many mouths during the Depression. Audie picks cotton for 50 cents per 100 pounds. He hunts rabbits and squirrels with a borrowed rifle to supplement meals that consist mostly of cornmeal and whatever he can kill. He drops out of school after 5th grade because education is a luxury starvation cannot afford. By age 16, he's working any job that pays: farm labor, gas station attendant, radio repair shop assistant. The work is brutal, the pay inadequate, and the future looks identical to the past. December 7, 1941. Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attack changes everything for millions of Americans, including one 16-year-old Texas farm boy who sees military service as escape from poverty and path to something better. Murphy tries to enlist immediately. The Marines reject him, too short at 5 feet 5 inches, too light at 112 pounds, too young without parental consent. The Navy rejects him. The Army Air Corps rejects him. Even the Army initially turns him away for age and size. He returns with a falsified birth certificate showing he's 18 and a determination that wears down the recruiter. On June 30, 1942, the Army accepts Audie Murphy with full knowledge that he barely meets minimum standards and will probably wash out of basic training. They're wrong. Basic training at Camp Walters, Texas reveals something unexpected. The skinny farm boy who looks like a strong wind would knock him over shoots expert on every weapon system the Army issues. Rifle, carbine, machine gun, grenade throwing, Murphy scores in the top percentiles across the board. His hands, trained by years of hunting for survival, are steady. His eyes, accustomed to spotting rabbits at 200 yards through Texas brush, can identify targets other soldiers miss. The poverty that stunted his growth gave him skills the Army desperately needs. Advanced infantry training follows at Fort Meade, Maryland. Murphy's unit, Company B, 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division, trains for amphibious operations and mechanized warfare. The 3rd Infantry Division, nicknamed the Marne Division for their World War I service, carries a reputation as one of the Army's most aggressive combat formations. Murphy, 17 years old and weighing 125 pounds in full combat gear, doesn't stand out physically. But his marksmanship scores and tactical problem-solving during exercises catch officers' attention. April 1943. Murphy ships overseas with Company B as part of Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily. The 3rd Infantry Division will land at Licata Beach, fight through Sicily, invade mainland Italy, land at Anzio, participate in the liberation of Rome, invade southern France, and fight through the Vosges Mountains into Germany. Murphy will experience every operation, surviving encounters that kill or wound soldiers around him with regularity that seems impossible until you see the pattern. July 10, 1943. Sicily. Murphy's first combat comes at Licata Beach, where German and Italian forces offer limited resistance. The 3rd Infantry Division pushes inland against sporadic opposition. Murphy experiences the reality that separates training from war. Incoming artillery that arrives without warning, the smell of death that clings to everything, the exhaustion that makes simple tasks feel impossible. His first kill happens on a hillside near Camiso. German sniper in a church tower, approximately 250 yards. Murphy spots the muzzle flash, calculates wind and elevation, and fires 1 round from his M1 Garand. The sniper falls. Murphy feels nothing, no triumph, no horror, just recognition that he can do what needs doing. Officers notice. Within weeks, he's promoted to corporal. August 1943. Sicily campaign continues. Murphy's squad encounters a German machine gun nest holding up the company's advance. The by-the-book solution involves calling for artillery support, flanking with fire teams, coordinating suppression. Murphy crawls forward alone through a vineyard, gets within 30 yards of the position, and kills all 3 German soldiers with rifle grenades. The company advances. Murphy gets promoted to sergeant at 18 years old. January 1944. Anzio Beachhead, Italy. The 3rd Infantry Division lands as part of Operation Shingle, intended to outflank German defensive lines. Instead, the Allies get pinned on the beaches for 4 months of brutal static warfare. Murphy's platoon holds positions that change hands multiple times. The fighting is close quarters, vicious, and personal. Men Murphy trained with die beside him, mortar fragments, sniper fire, artillery that lands with mathematical precision. Murphy survives through pattern recognition. He learns to identify incoming artillery by sound, the shriek of German 88mm shells versus American 105mm howitzers. He learns which terrain features attract fire and which provide genuine cover. He learns to move when others freeze, to make decisions in seconds that others spend minutes debating. By May 1944, when Anzio finally breaks out, Murphy has 24 confirmed kills and a Bronze Star. August 15, 1944. Operation Dragoon, the invasion of southern France. Murphy lands at Saint-Tropez with his company and pushes north through the Rhone Valley. The German Wehrmacht, stretched thin across multiple fronts, fights delaying actions rather than static defense. Murphy's unit encounters resistance at river crossings, towns, and mountain passes. Each engagement follows similar patterns. German forces establish defensive positions, Americans probe for weaknesses, Murphy identifies the critical position and eliminates it, often alone. Near Montelimar, Murphy single-handedly destroys a German machine gun nest by approaching through a drainage ditch, killing the crew with grenades, then turning their own weapon on retreating infantry. Silver Star. Near Lyon, he leads his squad in capturing a German strongpoint that had stopped an entire company, using captured German weapons when his ammunition runs low. Distinguished Service Cross. The pattern is visible to anyone watching. Murphy fights differently than other soldiers. Where doctrine says coordinate with your team, Murphy operates independently. Where regulations say maintain defensive positions, Murphy advances alone. Where training emphasizes firepower through massed fire, Murphy achieves results through precision shooting and calculated risk. Taking WWII October 1944. Murphy has received battlefield commission to second lieutenant. He commands Company B's 1st platoon despite being 19 years old and weighing 135 pounds soaking wet. November 1944. The Vosges Mountains, northeastern France. Winter arrives early, bringing snow, freezing temperatures, and German defensive lines dug into mountain terrain that favors defenders. The 3rd Infantry Division pushes through forests where visibility drops to 50 yards and every ridge hides machine gun nests. Murphy's company takes 40% casualties in 2 weeks. The replacements arrive scared, undertrained, and unprepared for mountain warfare. Murphy becomes their teacher through example rather than instruction. When new soldiers freeze under fire, Murphy advances alone, drawing enemy attention until his men move. When platoons get pinned down by German positions, Murphy identifies the threat, approaches within grenade range, and eliminates it personally. He doesn't lecture about courage. He demonstrates that movement under fire is survivable if you understand terrain and timing. December 1944. The German Ardennes offensive, the Battle of the Bulge, strikes American lines 100 miles north. The 3rd Infantry Division, positioned in Alsace, prepares for German counterattacks aimed at relieving pressure on the Bulge. The Colmar Pocket, a German-held salient west of the Rhine River, becomes the focal point. If German forces break out, they could collapse the Allied southern flank. January 14, 1945. Operation Nordwind, Germany's Alsace offensive, hits the 3rd Infantry Division positions. Murphy's company beholds a sector near Holtzwihr, a small village in frozen farmland. The company has been reduced to 40 effective soldiers, less than a third of authorized strength. They're exhausted, undersupplied, and holding a line stretched beyond any reasonable defensive limit. For 10 days, Company B fights continuous German probes. Murphy's platoon repels attacks at Holtzwihr, then counterattacks to retake positions lost by adjacent units. The pattern is always the same. German infantry supported by armor attempt to break through. Murphy's platoon holds until ammunition runs critically low. Murphy personally leads counterattacks that restore the line. He's wounded twice, shrapnel in the leg, minor burns from a phosphorus grenade, and refuses evacuation both times. January 25, 1945. Company B receives orders to advance toward Holtzwihr, securing the woods northwest of the village. The mission is straightforward reconnaissance, identify German strength, probe defenses, withdraw if resistance proves too strong. Murphy leads 2 platoons, approximately 40 men, supported by 2 M10 tank destroyers from the 601st Tank Destroyer Battalion. The advance begins at 0800 hours. The terrain is miserable. Open farmland covered in snow, scattered tree lines providing minimal cover, frozen ground that makes digging foxholes nearly impossible. Visibility is excellent, which means enemy observers can see everything. Murphy positions his men along the edge of a forest approximately 500 yards from Holtzwihr. The M10s position themselves 100 yards behind the infantry line, providing fire support. At 1400 hours, German artillery opens fire. Not probing rounds, but systematic bombardment that signals major attack preparation. Murphy recognizes the pattern immediately. This isn't reconnaissance opposition. This is the German division preparing to assault through Company B's position toward American rear areas. Radio confirmation arrives minutes later. German 6th SS Mountain Division, approximately 250 infantry with armor support, advancing from Holtzwihr toward Murphy's position. The tactical situation is catastrophic. 40 American soldiers, 2 tank destroyers, minimal heavy weapons, holding open ground against a German assault force 6 times their size. 1,430 hours. The German assault begins with textbook precision. 6 Panzer tanks, a mix of Panzer IVs and Panthers, advance in echelon formation, with infantry following 50 yards behind using the armor as mobile cover. German doctrine for breakthrough operations, executed by veterans who have been fighting since 1939. Against 40 American infantrymen with no anti-tank weapons beyond bazookas effective at 150 yards maximum, the outcome seems predetermined. Murphy orders his men to hold fire until the Germans close to effective range. Discipline holds, no panic fire, no wasted ammunition. At 200 yards, the M10 tank destroyers open fire with their 3-inch guns. The first shot disables a Panzer IV's track. The second shot misses completely. German return fire is immediate and overwhelming. Both M10s take direct hits within 90 seconds. One explodes instantly, killing the entire crew. The second, designated Besotten Jenny, catches fire but doesn't explode. The crew bails out and runs toward the treeline. Murphy watches the burning M10 and makes a calculation. The vehicle sits 100 yards from his position, exposed in open ground. The .50 caliber machine gun mounted on the turret is still functional. He can see it clearly. German infantry are advancing through the snow at approximately 50 yards per minute. In 2 minutes, they'll be in grenade range of his defensive line. In 5 minutes, they'll overrun his position. The .50 caliber has a maximum effective range of 1,800 yards, a rate of fire of 450 to 550 rounds per minute, and ammunition storage of several hundred rounds. Every tactical principle says don't do this. The vehicle is burning. The ammunition could cook off any second. The position is completely exposed with no cover. German tanks will target it immediately. Any rational officer would order his men to fall back to the treeline and call for artillery support. Murphy is about to demonstrate why rationality and survival are not always compatible. 14:45 hours. Murphy runs toward the burning M10. His company first sergeant, Walter Brawley, tries to stop him. Murphy orders Brawley to establish a defensive line at the forest edge and prepare to call artillery. The distance to the M10, 100 yards across open snow-covered ground. German infantry distance, approximately 250 yards and closing. German tank distance, 400 yards with clear fields of fire. Murphy reaches the M10 at 1,447 hours. Flames are spreading from the engine compartment, but the turret area is not yet fully engulfed. The .50 caliber machine gun is hot from the fire but functional. Murphy climbs onto the vehicle, ignoring the heat radiating through the metal, ignoring the flames visible 10 feet away, ignoring the German infantry who spot him immediately and begin directing fire. He grabs the .50 caliber, swings it toward the advancing Germans and opens fire. The weapon's distinctive sound, a deep, hammering roar, carries across the frozen field. German infantry hit the ground, seeking any depression in terrain that provides cover. Murphy fires in controlled bursts, 10 to 15 rounds per trigger pull, walking his fire across likely positions. The psychological impact is immediate. The Germans expected the Americans to retreat. Instead, someone is firing a heavy machine gun from a burning vehicle that should have been abandoned minutes ago. 1,450 hours. Murphy's position on the burning M10 gives him an elevated firing platform approximately 8 feet above ground level. This height advantage allows him to see over terrain folds that conceal German infantry from ground-level observers. He can spot targets his own men cannot see, and the .50 caliber's range means he can engage them effectively at distances up to 1,000 yards. The German infantry, trained to assault fixed positions with supporting fire, have never encountered a defender standing exposed on a burning vehicle. The first German casualties fall at 200 yards, soldiers attempting to advance through a drainage ditch Murphy identifies from his elevated position. 15-round burst, 3 confirmed kills, remainder pinned down. The German company commander redirects his assault, attempting to flank left where a small rise provides cover. Murphy swings the .50 caliber and engages the flanking movement at 300 yards. The machine gun's penetration at this range will punch through trees, stone walls, and anything short of armored vehicles. German infantry diving behind a low stone wall discover the wall provides no protection. Murphy fires through it. The field telephone, the critical detail most accounts miss, sits beside Murphy on the M10's turret. He's maintaining constant communication with First Sergeant Brawley at the treeline, calling corrections for artillery fire. Company B's attached artillery observer is wounded, so Murphy is directing fire missions himself while engaging with the .50 caliber. Fire mission coordinates as follows: enemy infantry concentration, 200 yards north of my position. Over. The artillery responds within 90 seconds. 105 mm howitzer shells begin landing among the German formations. Murphy is coordinating his own supporting artillery fire while standing on a burning vehicle under direct enemy fire. This level of multitasking, maintaining situational awareness, engaging targets with precision fire, calling artillery corrections, tracking ammunition expenditure, represents cognitive load that would overwhelm most soldiers in protected positions. Murphy is doing it completely exposed while flames spread closer to the ammunition storage point 1,500 hours. German tank commanders identify Murphy's position as the primary threat disrupting their infantry assault. A Panzer IV rotates its turret toward the burning M10. Murphy sees the movement, recognizes what's coming, and makes a decision that defines the next 10 seconds. He can abandon the position before the tank fires, preserving his life but leaving his company without the suppressive fire holding the German infantry at bay. Or he can stay, accept that the tank will fire, and hope the shot misses or that he can survive it. The Panzer fires. The 75mm armor-piercing round misses the M10 by 15 feet, impacting frozen ground and throwing up a geyser of dirt and snow. Murphy never stops firing. His ammunition belt runs dry. He loads a new belt, a process requiring both hands while exposed, and resumes firing within 8 seconds. The German infantry, watching their tank support fire and miss, realize they're facing something outside their tactical experience. One man on a burning vehicle is holding up an entire company assault point 15-10 hours. Murphy takes his first wound. Shrapnel from a German mortar round that lands 25 yards from the M10. The fragments hit his right leg, painful but not incapacitating. He keeps firing. Blood soaks through his uniform, freezing in the cold air. 1,520 hours. The ammunition situation approaches critical. Murphy has fired approximately 800 rounds from the .50 caliber. The M10 carries roughly 1,000 rounds total storage. Every burst expends 10 to 15 rounds. He's making calculations in real time: how many rounds remain, how many German infantry are still advancing, how long until the ammunition cooks off from the fire spreading through the vehicle. The metal beneath him is hot enough to burn through clothing. Smoke from the engine fire makes breathing difficult. German small arms fire continues hitting the M10's armor, creating sparks and ricochets inches from his position. The German assault has stalled but not stopped. Infantry are pinned down at 150 to 300 yards, unable to advance but unwilling to retreat. Their commanders are screaming orders Murphy can hear across the frozen field. Rally points, flanking maneuvers, calls for additional armor support. Murphy adjusts his fire, engaging any group that shows signs of coordinating movement. The .50 caliber has become a mobile artillery piece, suppressing an area of approximately 600 yards frontage through sheer psychological dominance. 15-30 hours. Murphy calls another artillery mission on German positions attempting to mass for a coordinated rush. The 105mm shells land with devastating accuracy because Murphy is directing fire from an elevated position with perfect observation. German casualties mount. Exact numbers unknown, but post-battle estimates will suggest 50+ killed or wounded in the hour Murphy holds that position. The German 6th SS Mountain Division is experiencing something their training never prepared them for: one American soldier with sufficient firepower and positioning to disrupt an entire company assault. The flames reach the ammunition storage at 1,535 hours. Murphy feels the heat intensify suddenly. He knows what's coming: the stored .50 caliber ammunition will cook off, and when it does, the vehicle becomes a bomb that will kill anyone within 50 yards. He has perhaps 60 seconds. The German infantry, sensing the same thing, begin preparing for a final assault once the burning vehicle explodes and eliminates their primary obstacle. Murphy makes his final artillery call: fire mission, danger close, all remaining enemy positions, fire for effect. Danger close means artillery will land within 600 yards of friendly positions, close enough that American soldiers will feel the concussion. Fire for effect means maximum volume, every available gun. Murphy is calling artillery on top of his own position because it's the only way to break the German assault completely. The artillery barrage begins at 1,537 hours. Multiple batteries of 105mm howitzers saturate the German positions with high explosive and white phosphorus rounds. The curtain of fire walks from 400 yards out toward 200 yards from Murphy's position. German infantry scatter, abandoning their assault positions and falling back toward Holtzwihr. The coordinated assault dissolves into individual survival as shells land with mathematical precision among formations that minutes ago were preparing to overrun Company B. At 1,540 hours, Murphy climbs down from the M10. The ammunition hasn't cooked off yet, but the entire vehicle is now engulfed in flames. He walks back toward the treeline, leg wound bleeding steadily, ears ringing from prolonged exposure to machine gun fire and artillery. His men watch him approach, unable to process what they've just witnessed. 1,545 hours. Murphy reaches Company B's position at the treeline. First Sergeant Brawley tries to examine his leg wound. Murphy refuses, instead organizing a counterattack while the Germans are still disorganized from the artillery barrage. This is the moment that separates survivors from Medal of Honor recipients. Most soldiers, having just spent an hour under sustained fire on a burning vehicle, would accept medical evacuation. Murphy sees an opportunity that will disappear in minutes if not exploited, that he gathers every effective soldier in Company B, approximately 35 men, and leads them forward in pursuit of the retreating Germans. The counterattack covers 300 yards, recapturing all ground lost during the German assault and pushing into the edge of Holtzwihr itself. German forces, already demoralized by their failed assault and unexpected casualties, offer minimal resistance. By 1600 hours, Company B holds positions 200 yards beyond their starting line. The German breakthrough attempt is completely defeated. The tactical results are documented in multiple after-action reports. German 6th SS Mountain Division casualties. Approximately 50 killed, unknown number wounded. German armor losses. 1 Panzer IV destroyed, 2 others damaged. German assault momentum completely broken. American casualties in Murphy's sector. 6 wounded. 0 killed during the hour Murphy held the M10 position. The adjacent sector, which fell back according to doctrine, suffered 15 casualties including 4 killed. Murphy's suicidal decision to stand on a burning tank saved lives by preventing the German breakthrough that would have collapsed the entire defensive line. But numbers don't capture what happened on that frozen field. The German soldiers who survived would later tell interrogators they believed they faced platoon-strength resistance with armor support. The idea that one soldier on a burning vehicle had stopped their assault seemed impossible. German military doctrine had no framework for individual soldiers achieving that level of tactical impact. Their training assumed coordinated units, not lone operators with sufficient firepower and positioning to disrupt company-strength assaults. Murphy's own men struggled to process what they witnessed. They saw their lieutenant run toward a burning vehicle everyone else was fleeing. They watched him stand exposed for an hour while German tanks shot at him and infantry tried to advance. They heard him calmly calling artillery corrections while machine gun fire sparked off the armor inches from his position. Some thought he was insane. Others thought he had accepted death and was taking as many Germans with him as possible. None understood that Murphy was making calculated decisions based on mathematical assessment of survival probabilities. The leg wound required evacuation to a field hospital. Murphy argued against it, insisting he needed to stay with his company. Medical officers overruled him. He spent 3 days in hospital receiving treatment for shrapnel wounds, minor burns, and severe hearing damage from prolonged exposure to weapons fire. The doctors noted his emotional state as remarkably calm for someone who just survived sustained combat. Murphy's response: "I did what needed doing." The Medal of Honor recommendation arrived at division headquarters on January 28, 1945, 2 days after the action. June 2, 1945. The Audie L. Murphy Memorial Plaza Ceremony. President Harry Truman awards the Medal of Honor to 2nd Lieutenant Audie Murphy, age 20, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. The citation describes the action at Holtzwihr in clinical detail. Lieutenant Murphy climbed on the burning tank destroyer and single-handedly held off the German assault for over an hour. The full catalog of his awards by war's end reads like fiction: Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, Legion of Merit, 2 Bronze Stars, 3 Purple Hearts, and decorations from France and Belgium totaling 33 awards. He is the most decorated American soldier of World War II. But the awards tell only part of the story. Murphy returns to civilian life carrying invisible wounds that 1945 medicine doesn't recognize or treat. What modern psychiatry calls post-traumatic stress disorder, the Army calls battle fatigue and assumes will fade with time. It doesn't. Murphy suffers nightmares so severe he sleeps with a loaded pistol under his pillow. He experiences flashbacks triggered by sounds, smells, specific visual cues. He self-medicates with alcohol because therapy doesn't exist for combat trauma. Hollywood discovers him in 1948. His boyish looks and genuine war hero status make him marketable. He stars in 44 films between 1948 and 1969, including To Hell and Back, his own autobiography, where he plays himself. The movies provide income and distraction but not healing. Murphy becomes an advocate for PTSD treatment before the term exists, speaking publicly about his struggles when most veterans suffer in silence. The lesson of Audie Murphy isn't that one man can stop 250 Germans. It's that courage and calculation are not opposites. Murphy's decision to climb onto that burning M10 appeared suicidal to observers. In reality, it was mathematical. His elevation provided superior observation and fields of fire. The vehicle's ammunition gave him sufficient firepower to suppress company-strength assault. The psychological impact of fire from an unexpected position disrupted German coordination. Every factor Murphy evaluated in seconds led to the same conclusion. Standing on that tank gave his company the best chance to survive. Modern military doctrine incorporates lessons from Murphy's action. Individual initiative under extreme conditions. Exploitation of terrain and positioning. Use of supporting fires even at danger-close distances. The Army teaches these principles at every leadership school, though they rarely mention that a 19-year-old farm boy from Texas figured them out through intuition and desperation on a frozen January afternoon. Murphy dies in a plane crash in 1971, age 45. He's buried at Arlington National Cemetery, Section 46, grave 366-11. His headstone is identical to every other, no special distinction for the most decorated soldier. But his grave is the second most visited at Arlington after President Kennedy's, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors annually. They come because Murphy's story represents something essential about courage. It's not the absence of fear, but the ability to function despite it through clear thinking when others freeze. January 26, 1945. One teenager. One burning tank. 1 hour. 250 Germans stopped. The numbers are documented, verified by multiple witnesses, confirmed by German records. The lesson remains. Sometimes the impossible is just difficult math executed under pressure by someone who refuses to accept that the situation is hopeless.